On this Sunday night, lots of news as always. I don't know if you guys are burned out or tired or where you are with all of it, but this is Sunday Night Live and it's a tradition now. I think it started in March. It's hard to believe. And now it continues as we continue in the pandemic, in coronavirus, breaking down headlines and taking your questions. So feel free to post your questions as I run through a lot of the issues at hand today. How are you guys doing? Is everybody hanging in there? I hope everybody is doing well. It's been a gorgeous weekend here in the Atlanta area. And October, by the way, is one of my favorite months. I love it so much. It's just such an opportunity here in Atlanta to be outside. The temperature's perfect and the leaves are starting to change, and I could romanticize about it forever, but that's not why you guys are here. We want to talk about what's going on around us and around the world. So we have a lot of headlines as usual. And of course, the dominant headline right now is President Trump and his COVID-19 diagnoses. A lot of debate with his diagnoses about mask again, about protection, about the simple fact that this virus can affect any of us, anywhere, at any time. Does that mean that we run away and hide in fear? No, but what it does mean is that we still can't be cavalier about this. And it's such an interesting time because I think we're like 6 or 7 months in now. I've lost track of time. And there is COVID fatigue, right? How many of you have got COVID fatigue? I know even me, I'm like tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking about it. I am tired of debating it. It is getting to be where, can it please just go away? But here's the reality. It's a coronavirus. It's not going to magically go away. We have to be strategic in dealing with it. We have to find solutions, and we all kind of need each other to make this thing really work. And here is the theme that I keep seeing in other countries and what we are really having an issue with here in the United States. We've got to wear a mask. I don't know why it's such a fight, but wearing a mask is a symbol of respect. It's respect for our local neighbor, for our friend, for the person sitting across from us. And using those masks when you're in crowded areas, I think, are so important. Someone's asking me if I'm based in Atlanta. Yes, I am based right here in Atlanta. I'm actually kind of Atlanta bred and born, believe it or not. But anyhow, not born, sorry, bred. I was born in Texas, actually, but have been here since I was about 10 years old and have tried to get away many times, but this is truly home now. More on those stories later, but back to COVID-19 and what's happening here is just, again, like we've got to wear these masks. And I know so many of you don't want to, and you have talked to me about it, and you're frustrated with it. I don't like them either. I feel like I get really short of breath when I'm talking throughout my patient care day, but wearing a mask is the best protection we can offer if we want to be normal and not go back into quarantine. And I don't want any of us to go back into quarantine. It was devastating for businesses. I run a small business. I know what it meant for my employees. I know what it meant for fellow business owners. It was devastating for our children to be in virtual school and to not be in their sports and in their activities. And it's devastating mentally. And we're seeing that now where we think the mental health pandemic is really the next pandemic we're going to be dealing with. So to stay away from those issues, what I wish we would all really do is continue to wear masks, wash our hands, observe appropriate precautions, and continue to focus on our immune system. And it's been interesting, and I posted a video about this earlier today, I believe, or yesterday, it's all blending together, about the treatment the president's receiving, which includes remdesivir, Regeneron. What do those guys do? Well, remdesivir is an antiviral. Regeneron is an immune booster of sorts. It's trying to help the immune system. And then vitamin D and zinc, stuff we've talked about before, right? So it's interesting to see this cocktail of stuff come together, famotidine, melatonin, in terms of treating our president. And it just goes to show that we've got to merge medicine. We've got to put the fundamentals of our health together in a systematic way, because the immune system is the next frontier when it comes to our health. Even before the pandemic, we were seeing a rise in autoimmune disease. There was cancer, right? This is, we've lost sort of the focus on it. I want to talk about it because of COVID, but it's October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we know that all of these diseases have become sort of the mainstay in our medical lingo and in our medical literature and practice. I run an immune clinic essentially, because at any given moment, I'll see someone with an autoimmune disease, a neurological issue that really came from the immune system. Again, somebody who's dealing with cancer, you name it. but I can tie almost everything I see back to inflammation and back to the immune system. So my hope, even as I sit back and I watch what's going on with the president, is that we're going to redefine medicine and we're going to change what it means to be healthy. And we're going to understand that it doesn't matter who you are. We've talked a lot about how COVID has disproportionately affected minorities. Well, right now it's also affecting the president of the United States. And so at the end of the day, where is your inflammation? Where's your immune system? Where's your weight? Where's your overall health is going to determine the outcome of this particular virus. And we're seeing it with how the president is managing and with how his wife is managing and the differences between the two, right? So I think, again, it's a really uncertain time. It's scary when the leader of your country comes down with this and makes it very real. It hits home, right? It really hits home. But again, we're not having the conversations I want us to have. I'm not seeing them in the national media when it comes to how important your immune system is. Now, when it comes to the immune system, I feel like you guys are probably sick of me talking about it, but we have a guide. There's a guide you can download. It's on my website, drtaz.com, and go to guides. We're at the Learn tab, and you'll see the immune guide. I've been posting it on Instagram quite a bit as well. But again, it's for you. It's a free resource for you guys to understand how your immune system works and to do what you can do now to take care of it, so that when we start to deal with this virus and other viruses too, as we go into the colder temperatures and we're indoors more, we're ready, we're prepared, and this is not something that we need to be afraid of. So those were the headlines that dominated. And again, your immune system continues to matter. So many comments here. Oh my gosh, yes, someone cheer, yay, yay. Don't just wait for a vaccine. Get metabolically healthy. Thank you for saying that. I think that's so important. I feel like people are like, I'm waiting for the vaccine, or I'm waiting for this drug, or no, you have to you have to own this, guys. You have to take this into your own hands. You've got to get your systems healthy. You have to pay attention to where your health stands. That's going to help you fight this off. And you know what? That's true of any virus. That's true for the flu. That's true for the common cold. That's true for any other virus that's out there. Your immune system at the end of the day is really going to matter. And again, not to throw another wrench into this conversation, but think about this. With climate change, which by the way is real, but with climate change and with the changing temperatures, we are going to continue to see changing viruses. So right now we're dealing with COVID. Tomorrow we might be dealing with something else. And we can't, for every new virus and every new mutation, wait for a vaccine, wait for a new drug. We have got to take care of our own health and keep the key elements of our health as healthy and happy as possible. So great comment there. How to overcome a cold homeopathically. I love homeopathy. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. A question about matcha. Oh my goodness, you guys have good questions today. Atlanta, yes, love Atlanta. Hello, Hawaii. Oh my goodness, really want to go back to Hawaii. Are they still quarantining in Hawaii if you visit? I just miss it. I honeymooned in Hawaii, and we've been there on my 10-year anniversary, and I have so many great memories from Hawaii. Here's a mistake I made, though. On our 10-year anniversary, just a quick personal story, I was like, I want to show our kids, what Hawaii was like for us. So we took our kids on our 10-year anniversary back to Hawaii, and I think it ruined all our memories. So don't do that. Enjoy and keep your honeymoon place separate from wherever you take your children. Okay, I think I answered most of that. Now there was a question about, we answered that. Hang on, and everyone's wearing a mask. Good. I answered the Atlanta question. I feel like I just missed a question. You can ask it again. I think there was a question about matcha and ECGCs, which are polyphenols essentially that protect the immune system. Matcha does have that, but if you load matcha with a lot of sugar and cream, then you're taking down the concentration of those as well. I promise there was one more question I was supposed to answer. Let's see. All right, we'll come back to it. All right, let's keep going here. There are a couple of other headlines that I do want to get to, and a couple of them are COVID related, but then we're going to veer off course because there are other things going on in the medical world, believe it or not, and in the world as well. But this particular study, how many of you are pregnant? I know that many pregnant women have had this particular concern. Is COVID going to impact my unborn child? And here's what they're finding finally after they've had enough time to do a study, that they're finding that there are some adverse outcomes in the study including, again, I hate this sort of news, but it's important to share, including miscarriage, stillbirth, or death within the first 28 days after birth. The rate of child mortality among the pregnancies was approximately 4%, mainly related to premature births. So the key here, again, is for women who are pregnant to really protect their immune system, particularly in that first trimester. That's where it seems to be important, and even more so in that first month. If you can make it through that period of time, then it appears to be no harm to the baby and no harm to you as well. So again, it's important for doctors to tailor treatment of pregnant women with COVID-19 to identify risk factors that could increase adverse outcomes. So you really want to watch infection. And again, pregnant mamas, as you guys are headed out and about over the next few months into the winter, again, the mask, the hand washing, your immune system, you can take D, you can take C, you can take zinc. All of those things are safe for you to take. So I would keep that up as well. Another study on COVID talking about the isolation and the regression of patients with Alzheimer's disease. Let me pull it out over here real quickly. But essentially, this particular study is talking about Alzheimer's and how Alzheimer's patients have taken a step back during the pandemic and actually have regressed and have worsened due to the isolation, the lack of structure. And this, by the way, is something I have seen in practice where Alzheimer's patients have been brought in by their family members and have truly taken a backward sort of step, and we're trying to move them forward and get them out of that. But Alzheimer's patients, dementia patients, they need structure, they need routine, they need interaction, they need connection, and they need purpose. And one of the things that we saw with a particular patient in the practice is that when she could no longer care for her grandchild and was forced to stay home and didn't have that structure of, oh, I have to show up every day at this time to help care for my grandchild, she completely started to retreat, staring into the wall. You know, family was so worried and concerned about her. And sort of once we gave them the pass, no, it's important to interact. It's important to get out there. She did much better. So really taking an impact on our Alzheimer's patients. If you have a loved one with dementia or Alzheimer's, please reach out to them and try to create some sort of interaction or structure within their lives. Even if they have to show up somewhere for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it makes a really big difference. Okay, now I am veering away from COVID. Oh my gosh, shocker. And I'm actually going to talk about one or two other things. And I see some questions popping up over here in the Facebook and YouTube community that you guys want me to talk about the flu vaccine. How many of you guys get a flu vaccine? Can you wave or let me know if you get a flu vaccine? All right, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Historically, the flu vaccine has a 19 to 60% effectiveness rate. This season, we are leading with flu B, and flu B is typically worse for our children, more so than the adults. So this is a year where I do think it's really important to get a flu vaccine. And it's important to do so because we have too many variables in the mix. And the more we can lower the number of cases in the community, or at least lower the severity of the flu, I think it's going to be better overall. And one of the things you can do to help kind of get the flu through your system, I love doing glutathione. So glutathione pre and post vaccine makes a big difference. We can naturally get glutathione by doing a lot of the greens, like juicing the greens and eating a lot of fresh vegetables and brightly pigmented and colored fruits and vegetables. That's one way to get glutathione. But juicing, doing green juices, green smoothies is another way, or taking glutathione as an oral or topical supplement is helpful too. So getting that glutathione level in before, getting glutathione in after, making sure you're healthy before you go in for the vaccine, resting the day of the vaccine. These are things that you can do to help protect any sort of side effects that you may experience from the vaccine. There was a question, now I remember the question on there. There was a question about treating colds homeopathically. Have any of you guys used homeopathic medicine? I find it fascinating. It has its place. It's great as a treatment modality. And I found that many of the dilutions and the different substances do help to mitigate viral loads for the cold. And that's where I've seen the most effectiveness. So one of my favorites, for example, is Allium cepa, which is essentially from garlic. And you'll find that, by brands like Boiron, and there's so many different homeopathic brands out there. But that's one where taking it, you take these little pellets a couple times a day, but it helps to decrease the viral load. Interestingly enough, homeopathy almost acts like a vaccine in a way, because it's expecting the body to mount an immune response in recognition to what it's providing you. So yes, I've used homeopathy. I don't use it as extensively as I do some of the nutraceuticals and some of the herbs and things like that, but it does for sure have a place. All right, lots of questions on the flu vaccine. Some of you guys have gotten your flu vaccine. Let's see, we do offer at Center Spring MD, almost afraid to say this because I know we have a limited supply, but we offer the thimerosal and preservative-free vaccine. So that's another way of trying to lower the toxic load of some of these vaccines as well. Okay, let's see. No other new questions I don't think have popped up. Let's see, allergic to egg-based vaccines. Is there another option? So if you have an egg allergy, we usually recommend not doing the vaccine, or, you would be a great candidate for oselinium, which is back to homeopathy, which is a homeopathic preparation that I love using, and it's over the counter, but it's oselinium, and it actually helps to sort of support yourself in the fight against the flu. So that's one to look for as well if you're having an issue with egg allergy. That's an alternative. Okay, now I'm going to veer away from COVID. Everybody good with that? We're going to veer away from COVID for a second. And we're going to start talking about some women's health issues, because believe it or not, it is October and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I feel like that entire conversation is getting swept under the rug because we're all so distracted by everything else. And many women, by the way, for those of you who are listening, are delaying things like your routine mammograms, your thermograms, your ultrasounds, because you're afraid to come in for COVID, or you don't want to deal with it just because you're dealing with COVID and you might have all these other pivots and changes you're having to make along the way. But it's important to still maintain your breast care, maintain breast self-exams, make sure you're keeping up with those routine studies. We know that breast cancer continues to challenge women, and especially women here in the United States. Here are some statistics just to help you to realize the impact of this. 1 in 8 women will be impacted by breast cancer in their lifetime. In the United States, it's the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women. That's just, to me, unfathomable. After lung cancer, it's the second leading cause of cancer death. And in the United States, more than 250,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and 42,000 women will die from the disease. Most of them are in women over 50, but breast cancer does affect, and we've seen this as well, and I'm sure you have too, it does affect younger women also. And men are impacted. It's just not as common. It's 1 out of 100 breast cancers in the United States are male or affect a man, and early detection is key. And with early detection, there is a very promising chance, almost a 90% chance of cure. And there are over 3.3 million breast cancer survivors here in the United States. How incredible is that? If you're a breast cancer survivor, raise your hand, wave to me. So proud of you guys. I've walked this journey with some of you, and I know how difficult it is. And I know the emotional and physical and mental toll it takes. But I've also walked it where I get to see you guys on the other side of it. And it is so heartwarming to watch you go from diagnosis to fear to the fight, right? Where you don't feel good and you might be losing your hair and making all these tough choices, to being on the other side of that and glowing and beautiful and vibrant and radiant. And those are some of my most rewarding moments in practice. But that conversation around breast cancer, it should be around routine screening and detection, but it should be deeper than that. And that's where, again, I feel like we're missing the mark on some of these conversations. Routine screening is helpful, but there are things you as women can track all along the way. What is your estrone level, your estradiol level? Do you have estrogen dominance, where you are always walking around with dense breast, heavy, like feeling very heavy in your breast, getting migraines, getting endometriosis? These are all signs of hormones that are not balanced well. And on the blog this weekend, we posted on a liver detox. And remember, in Chinese medicine, the liver is the laundromat of the entire body. It's the cleaner. It sort of brings these hormones in, chops them up, packages them up, and sends them out to where they need to go. And when that's not happening effectively, then hormones go the wrong way. And we have things like estrogen dominance. And when we build up hormones, whether it's testosterone, androgens, estrogen, insulin, any of them, then we are increasing our risk for cancer, because we are then signaling to the immune system, back to that guy again, that something's not quite right, something's awry, and we wake up genetics that we may not need to. So I urge you all to take October to remind yourselves that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is about routine screening and detection, but it's also deeper than that. What is your gut, your liver, your nutrients doing for your hormones, and how does that connect back to the immune system? Because at the end of the day, that is what determines the progression of many of these illnesses. And for those of you who are breast cancer survivors, 90% of you, then it's important for you to still have a handle on this conversation, because that's what prevents recurrence. So keep that in mind. That's a part of the story that's not being talked about very much, but a very important one. And that is the why behind, why did I get cancer? Why did it come back? Why did this happen? So keep that in mind when we're navigating through this very important month and bringing awareness to this critical women's health issues. Speaking of women's health issues, and I hope I'm not boring you to death with some of the stuff, but speaking of that, this story did not get much coverage. I think it's interesting that it didn't, but Hilary Swank, did you guys see the story at all? I don't know if you saw it, but Hilary Swank actually sued SAG-AFTRA's health insurance board because they were refusing to cover the management needed for her ovarian cyst. And her point was that the insurance companies continue to silence women's health issues, to not cover them, to pretend like they're going to go away or brush them under the rug, gaslighting, right? We've talked about that before. And so she sued them. And I don't know what the outcome of that suit is, but I do know that women's health needs to be redefined. I think that we have too much of a cut and get it out, or, like take this pill type mentality when it comes to women's health. And as I've written about in the Superwoman RX, and as I've talked about over and over again, it's not how we work. We're incredibly fluid beings. We have so many different life phases and stages that we each go through, and each one demands attention, and attention to where we are with our immune systems, inflammation, hormone balance, and so much more. And to have things like an ovarian cyst, which, by the way, is a sign of high estrogen, low progesterone, all these different hormone imbalances ignored and not taken care of, is a crime, because it's ovarian cyst today, but tomorrow it's something bigger and deeper, whether it's infertility, whether it's PCOS, whether it's breast cancer, endometriosis, you name it, it will show up. So we've got to change the way, we just need to change medicine. So I don't know how many of you are in with me, but at the end of the day, I feel like when I hear myself talk, I'm like, we just really need to change medicine. And it is a part of my mission and my passion of bringing all of this together, redefining what we consider healthy, so we can truly bring everyone into the conversation around health, and we can bring healthcare costs down. And more importantly, these things, emerging viruses, immune system dysfunction, inflammation, all of these things will become a story of the past because we're equipped to handle it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think women's health is covered adequately? Have you had an experience where your health issue was ignored or gaslit? Share it with me. I would love to bring you on for you to talk about it and what you did about it and what you think needs to be done. And while we're speaking of women's health and women's health issues, so many of you are super women, right? You're doing a million different things. And it struck me the other day that I'd love to tell your stories. So if you have a story, reach out to me, email me at hello@Dr. Taz, or if you're on Instagram, then you can text me or DM me and share your superwoman story with me, and we'll spotlight it right here on our social media channels, and really, again, build that community so we each learn from each other to be empowered, enlightened, and to know that a lot of times we walk through really dark days, but there's tremendous light on the other side of it, and sometimes there's gifts that we never expected. All right, let me make sure I got all these questions answered. Any other questions that we have today? Can migraines and thyroid issues, are they related? Not a little bit, not directly. A lot of times when you have a sluggish thyroid, you do have estrogen dominance, which triggers migraine. So that's the relationship. Do you have hypothyroid or a sluggish thyroid? And is that why you have migraines? Okay, let's see, PCOS. And it's a nightmare to navigate. This is, let's see, you have PCOS and it's a nightmare to navigate. What can you do for prevention? Oh my goodness. PCOS actually got me here. I think I've shared that before, right? It got me into the world of holistic and integrated medicine and trying to find answers for myself. And PCOS at the end of the day is an autoimmune issue. There is a PCOS guide that we put out last month. I don't know if you've downloaded that or not, but again, if you go to my website and you'll see the whole section on guides under the Learn tab, download the PCOS guide. It kind of is my brain dump of what I think about PCOS, because I could talk about it probably forever. But long story short, it's the combination of a gene, incredible stress or some trigger, a gut that's not working well, and then hormones that then become imbalanced. So it takes like a comprehensive approach to really manage PCOS. So keep that in mind and take a look at that guide. That hopefully will be helpful for you. All right. Yes to changing medicine. We've got a bunch of people doing that. Can you take the Defender when pregnant? This must be Victoria. I cannot believe you're pregnant again. I'm going to have to laugh. Is this baby? I think this is baby number 4 or 5 for you. I don't know which one, but congratulations. I think I saw that on one of the feeds somewhere. So congratulations. So happy for you. So the Defender has astragalus. You're probably safe to take it after the first trimester, but I wouldn't take it during that first trimester. You are okay taking zinc by itself, vitamin C by itself, vitamin D by itself, but I'd want you to be careful with the astragalus. So just keep that in mind. So hopefully that answers that. All right. Any other question? All right. Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not sure what's going on there. Flu vaccine. We had a couple questions about that, which we answered. And I think we got all your questions in. So that's a lot of information for this Sunday night. Remember all the resources that are available to you. Join the tribe. There's a link on Instagram, so just hit that. You can join the Taz tribe and you get sneak peeks into the guides as they're released. I'm trying to do a new guide every couple of weeks or so to help everybody. We will be doing some exciting stuff. We have a weight loss course coming up, so keep your eyes out for that. We have an immune course coming out as well, so that's exciting. And then for the new year, we'll be doing a Superwoman Wellness Retreat. So more deets on that in the next couple of weeks. And then the 10-day jumpstart. Some of you guys did that with me. If you want to do that on your own, it's now available. If you go into programs on the Dr. Taz site, you can do the 10-day jumpstart if you're trying to get in shape around this time. A lot of people right before the holidays try to do something. I'm going to do it as well so that when we go into the holidays, there's not quite as much damage, right? So those are all the resources available to you. Check them all out. Use them to your advantage. This is sort of like my little micro versions of my brain walking around the website there. But again, I just wanted to help you guys, to help you find your best self, your superpower self, so you can do the work that you're meant to do and you can be the best that you can be. All right, remember, the end of the day, we always need to remember this: follow your dreams. They know the way. Many of you may have stopped dreaming during this pandemic. I know even I did for a moment, not knowing what to expect, but put them in motion, put them in action, and stay healthy, stay well, stay super powered, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.